All right. We are live. We outside. I know I didn't plan it. Greetings and welcome to those who've just joined us. This is Imuna, and I still have some leftover thoughts from yesterday. So if you missed yesterday's video when we spoke about Chesley Kirst, I believe her name is. My apologies if I mispronounce it, and her passing from what is being labeled as suicide, and the statement from her mother uh, talking about her battling depression. And so I talked about that yesterday. We took a look at some information that I came across concerning her mother. Hold on one. Let me see if the mic is going to work here. Hold on. 1 2 1 2. Yeah, that's good. So some information I came across concerning her mother. Um, and I wasn't done. I know it was getting late and you already know, but I kind of wanted to continue on this because I had an earlier Twitter space. I've been on Twitter lately. This is new for me. And we were talking about mental health, and I had some additional thoughts that I'm going to carry over into the YouTube space, right? Oftentimes, when people are highlighting what's happening in the quote celebrity space or everyday space, or why did this happen, why did that happen, we kind of catch it when it's too late. And oftentimes we don't know the signs. We're not classically trained or professionally trained, and we discount a lot of things until the bottom falls out, until it's too late, and then people have regrets. And it's like, for instance, a few years ago, R. Kelly was in the news. Now he's gone because he's locked away. So we kind of have that mentality in our mind that if the person is no longer visible, then it doesn't exist. Back in the days when they thought someone had mental health issues, what would they do? They would lock them away in an institution, and that would make it disappear. Yeah, but it doesn't disappear. It doesn't disappear if you don't talk about it. It doesn't disappear if you put them away in an institution. It doesn't disappear if you rename it. It doesn't disappear, right? These things have to be dealt with. They have to be addressed, in my estimation. So what we're seeing in the space of Kanye West, I think I put that in the title because he keeps reappearing, and we're seeing something similar in the way in which he behaves. But again, it's like in R. Kelly's situation, when genius is attached to it, when the people are benefiting it from it in certain ways, then it's okay, it's excused, right? When everything appears all right, even though clearly afterwards I always knew something was wrong. But the weird thing about humanity is, as long as they feel that they're benefiting from it, they're willing to overlook it until it becomes too hard not to see. Yeah. And so right now we see him going through what many would say is a breakdown, because he comes to a place, this is talking about Kanye West, of feeling powerless to a certain degree. He's getting a divorce, or the woman is divorcing him, and now his children, he has an issue where what a lot of melanated men have is with their children, right? And then there's a question on the woman's side, and there's a question on the man's side. And now, because he's a celebrity, all of this is happening very publicly. And if people may be like, why does he keep coming to the public? He may feel like that's his only outlet. Oftentimes in society, it has been the woman who has less say to a certain degree, right? She's the one who would be uprooted or disrupted. Some people, and if you disagree, you can put it in the comment section below. But in antiquity, she was the one who, if she's getting kicked out, she has the one who has to find her way. She's the one who's going to be homeless, right? So in this space and time where a lot of the family dynamics is being flipped upside down, we seeing him crying aloud, kind of inspiring that, him coming to the public, to the court of public opinion, in hopes that he can get his concerns heard, right? And for many who are looking on, it's entertaining. That's what a lot of people take it as, it's entertainment. But that's somebody having a mental breakdown, or somebody's mental health that's being stressed. Stress is something that over a long period of time, as we all know, if the person continues to be stressed, it can cause a break. I saw recently a story. I was catching up on a lot of things. I'm like, my goodness, a story of a husband and wife who were doing well in business and all of these things, and they moved from, I think, Missouri, and then they go to Georgia, and he's going to divorce her, and then she does a murder suicide. I'm like, what? And then the interesting thing about the way in which social media is used is that she came to social media um, to sometimes speak uh, in a veiled way that people who know and people who don't know, to kind of cry out to social media. A lot of people use social media. I've been doing these, I think they're quirky little Dear Diary type things, but a lot of people do use social media as their diary. A lot of people have this last cry for help, and if you don't know, because they're not being very forward with it, you don't know how to help. The last post that is said of Chelsie was, hopefully now you can rest in peace. And her last post is on, I don't know, I just misquoted the last post. It's on Instagram, right? She leaves the last post on Instagram. So I just think it's interesting the way the personal diary has now come to social media, but yet people may not know that you're either egging on, you may be the last straw that broke the camel's back, you may say something that pushed, this is why you have to be very mindful. You don't have to. It behooves us to be very mindful of the things that we say, because we don't know what's going on behind the screen, right? So in that same vein, I wanted to follow up on the Chelsie story, because I had some more thoughts on that. So I found a video that when she was doing for her Miss America, not Miss America, why I keep calling it Miss America, USA, she was reacting to old videos. So sometimes when something tragic, the person doesn't even have to die. It's something tragic, but there's signs all along the way. But if we're busy and life is consuming us and there's too much going on and I don't got no time for that, we may miss all of this. And then when you look back retrospectively, you're like, wow, there it was, right? So I find that looking back at pictures, looking at your past, and the way in which you relate to the past, the tone, how you sound are all signs. So for the purposes of this conversation, and even something that we can practice in ourselves, if we may be in a not so good place, or there's answers that we may be looking for, and we want to know where to pinpoint them and to go to work through some things. For some, it may be too painful, but for those who can bear it, if you have pictures of your childhood or whatever the case may be, and you want to reconnect so that you can move through whatever it is you didn't resolve, try looking at old pictures and see what it brings up for you. So this is what she was doing in this particular case. So I'm going to share my screen. Oh, no, wait a minute. Oh, here we are. Share system audio. Okay, here she is reacting to old photos for the purposes of learning, eh? Wait a minute.
There are just so many things.
Wait. Let's press pause because I can't hear. Hold on. 1 second. Let's make this big here. I'm having to rig this whole conversation. And then if I have time, I'll open up the floor. I haven't done it in a while. Like I said, there's a lot going on. Let me try to jump over here. Hold on, YouTube. How's everybody been doing anyway? Let us know in the comment section. How you been doing? Are things improving? Here we are. Okay. All right, I'm ready. All right, here we are.
I wish I could have told my younger self.
You can hear the train in the background and everything.
Okay, so for this picture, just so many things that I wish I could have told my younger self. Let's get started. Hey guys, I've been looking through some old pictures of me when I was little, and there are just so many things that I wish I could have told my younger self. Let's get started. Okay, so for this picture, this is Halloween. That's my older sister, me in the middle.
Now, I've done this. Probably we've done this. Some you've seen people say, if you can, what would you tell your younger self? So, but the way she's saying it is, there's so many things that she wish she could have told her younger self. That means there's so much stuff that has happened. And again, it may not be anything, it may be something, it really depends. So let's continue to listen. Oh, wait a minute.
And then one of my younger brothers. We couldn't always afford to buy Halloween costumes when I was younger, and so we were always just trying to like make costumes from whatever we had laying around the house. My sister is wearing one of my mom's sash and crown from when she was like Miss Petite, North Carolina. And then I was actually wearing my sister's cheerleading uniform because I was a cheerleader. And then Asa is the only one who got stuff that we bought that year. It's just funny looking at this picture. I eventually became a cheerleader, which is cool. I was a cheerleader when I was in high school, and then I was a pageant queen, so I got my sister's costume.
Okay, so pause. If we're listening keenly, she said that they couldn't really afford to buy costumes every year, and her younger brother is the only one who got a costume that was bought. So that's telling you that finances played a role in her memories of her childhood. You know what I mean? And using the imagination or using what you have access to is what they did or what they employed to be able to participate in this particular day, right? So she dressed up in what her sister had, which is the cheerleading outfit, and the sister dressed up in what the mother was, which was Miss North Carolina. And so that's a little in that's telling us financially there may have been a bit of struggle amongst the family.
Costume. I have not been a superhero yet. Maybe at one point in time I'll play a superhero in a movie or something. That'd be pretty cool. We're feeding ducks. Apparently, this is good. These are good duck feeding outfits. You can tell that even then I was fancy. I mean, look at those feathered slippers. Look at them. Style, class, grace, and poise, all wrapped into one item of footwear. I love this picture. This is me and my mom. I think I was in 5th grade because they would do like a big field trip every year for 4th graders and 5th graders. You got to do this trip to the governor's mansion in Raleigh. And I just remember being so nervous because I was always a nerd. I was always a nerdy kid. I didn't have that many friends. I was always an introvert. I still am introverted. And so I just remember being nervous going to this trip because I was like, none of the kids are going to sit with me. Nobody's going to talk to me. And so I somehow convinced my mom to take a day off of work so that she could be one of the chaperones for our trip. And what's funny is like, not much has changed. I'm still an introvert. I still lean on my mom a lot. We're still really, really just close friends. And she's still.
So we have some other intel. How does the person feel about themselves? How do we feel about themselves? It's not what they present or how we polish up to the outside world. It's how we feel about ourselves. So she's telling us in a very calm tone. She's not being overly bubbly. She's not presenting as, hey, here I am. She's very, even toned and grounded in this conversation and saying that she was nerdy. She was an introvert. She didn't have a lot of friends. That means she was awkward socially. Keep all of this in mind as we're trying to wrap our mind around what could possibly have happened, or maybe it's just me. How could something of this happen, and how did we miss the signs? If you have a brother, father, sister, mother, cousin, friend, how are you missing the signs, right? So if the mother was aware that she was socially awkward, and that she was her best friend, even at this very young age, and that she didn't engage well, then the question would be, how are you adjusting to this new life in the limelight? Because what we know of you is that you don't necessarily fit in socially. That means that mind, the mind of this little girl right here in this jumper, is still in the mind of the 30-year-old. The 10 and 11-year-old's mind of being must maybe suspicious of people, or slow to trust people, that is still the mind. If we haven't healed, if we're still carrying that trauma or pain or rejection or whatever she felt, that's going to go with you throughout, no matter how much success you have. Emotionally, if you've been stunted at that space, you're going to continue to be that person. And that is, it's not just for her, it's for anybody, right? And so let's continue.
Still comes to events and stuff whenever I need her. Love you, Mom. Okay. All right, so I wasn't technically like an adolescent in this picture. I was still in law school. So I think this is my first year of law school. I must have been like 22 or something. And I still had a gap in my teeth. And I wish I would have gotten more used to and appreciated how different it made me and how unique it was and how pretty it was, and maybe not gotten rid of it. It was just in a moment of conformity where I needed to look like other people. Nowadays, I'm happy being unique, but there are still moments in time where I'm just like, I need to look the same as everybody else. It's sort of like it's a journey, not a destination.
So again, she's very somber in this reflective, or just very reflective, that there were things about her in an effort to fit in, as she said, she changed, but retrospectively, she was like, she should have embraced herself. So there's some regret there, right? If you close your gap on your teeth, I don't know of any reverse gap surgery, like, oh, can you open my gap back up? Right. So we see later on in her career that a lot of her identity is going to be centered around uh, what she used to be as a lawyer, or her hair journey. And this is where she starts to build her personality, or the allure that people will want to come in and know who she is. And if people want to know you for things, then deep inside you feel as though they don't want to know me for who I am. They want to know me for what kind of conditioner I put in my hair. They want to know me for the fact that I achieved all of these things, but not who I am as the soul, who am I as the person, right? So that type of thing will make you kind of distrustful of others.
The mohawk. So I had really long hair for most of my life, and then when I got to high school, I was flat ironing my hair a lot. I was dyeing it a lot, and it just started to break off. It was really unhealthy, and I also got I got chemical relaxers to straighten my hair. And my sister did what's called the big chop, when you'll have a stylist cut off all of the relaxed, chemically straightened parts of your hair. So she did that. And I remember crying in my sister's chair because my hair was only like this long. I was so unhappy with how I looked. For like, I don't know, 2 months straight, I would not wear my hair out. And so my sister, she braided the sides back, and I wore it in a mohawk like this for a really long time. Whew. Another one of my favorite pictures.
So here is where we're seeing that a big part of her identity, and this is just based on what I've seen that she presented publicly on social media, a big part of her identity became her hair, right? And so when her hair is cut, and this is for a lot of people, a big part of the identity became the hair. I mean, I remember uh, many years ago when I was pregnant with my last daughter, I had locks. I've had a number of locks, but I've always been the person, like, if I'm going through something, especially when I was younger, I would just chop all my hair off, right? Before everybody was doing the big chop. I remember when I first went to college, that was the first time I cut my hair off, and I did it myself, right? And I'm like 19. So I remember when 8 years ago now, I decided to chop. My locks were like, way down in my back. And I was like, yeah, I'm cutting it off. And my daughter woke up and she saw me, my oldest, and she started crying. I mean, I didn't expect that reaction from her because her identity for me, part of that was my hair. So when she woke up and saw me with no hair, she freaked out. I didn't expect that reaction. But so because our hair traps energy, our hair traps information, except genetic information. It has all these things in it. This is why when you go to take a drug test, they say, no, we don't want your pee, we want your hair, right? And so sometimes when people are trying to renew themselves or let go of all energy, you'll see that they cut their hair. So she may have been experiencing whatever was associated with the hair. The fact that she started perming it may mean that, you think it's a lot to manage. It's difficult. This is why a lot of melanated women have issues with their hair, because of the things that they're told about their hair. It's difficult. It's too much. I can't be bothered. All of these other things, or that it hurts. So there's a big connection between hair and how people feel about themselves, especially if the type of hair that you have is not generally accepted in society. I know it seems like something simple, but I tell you, I saw a video the other day when the woman was going through security. Let me see if I could find a video while I'm talking. She was going through security, and then she realized at the airport that she would have to take off her hat. I'm gonna get that video while we continue to watch this one.
That's my dad holding me. We were at a wedding. I do remember that dress, and I do remember that little pink hair bow, because I just remember every time my mom would put me in that dress and that hair bow, I felt so cute and pretty, and like I could dance with anybody. It's amazing. I think this must have been one of the times when I forgot how to smile, because who sticks their tongue out like that for a picture? You can see my little curls, so I always said curl. Okay, this was, I think, my senior year in high school. In this picture, I was so mad. I remember this specific meet. It's called Coach's Classic, and I wanted to get a medal. I didn't even necessarily want the top 3 placers get medals. And every year that I would go to this meet, I would get a ribbon. And so my senior year, my coach came to me and was like, we're not going to Coach's Classic this year because it falls during spring break. And I was like, but I want to go to Coach's Classic. I want to get a medal. And literally left spring break early to drive back so that I could go to this. My sister is wearing one of my mom's events and stuff, whatever. And then when I got to high school, I was flat ironing my hair a lot. I was dyeing it a lot. And for a picture, was, I think, my senior year. Okay, this was, I think, my senior year.
All right, my apologies. That's me. I
In this picture,
clicked the
I
thing.
was so
I accidentally clicked the thing. I'm over here looking for the lady with the hair thing.
And I wanted to get a medal. I didn't even necessarily
want. Okay, when she goes into the picture about this track meet,
and every year that I would go to this meet, I would get
listen to
and so my
what she's
senior
saying.
year, my coach came to me and was like, we're not going to Coach's Classic this year because it falls during spring break. And I was like, but I want to go to Coach's Classic. I want to get a medal. And literally left spring break early to drive back so that I could go to this meet and do well and get a medal. I was in 4th place. So this is them. This is me on the podium waiting for my little ribbon and not my medal. I was just so disappointed. Anyways, I was just a
Okay, if we remember what we saw yesterday, how her mother is describing, remember that's her in high school, right? And how her mother is describing all of her children, right? All of her children, this one is professional this one is professional that. So even by high school, she was willing to cut spring break short so that she can achieve, right? And get this medal that she's looking for. Because remember that she's amongst a family of overachievers, or high achievers, I should say. So all of this, for her to see that picture and it evoked that memory, and for her to illustrate to us, or the viewing audience, why and what it meant to her, I think it lends to some of the things I was talking about yesterday. But let's continue.
happy kid. I was always happy. I always had so much energy. I don't know where that energy went, because I have no energy anymore. Every day I'm just tired. I think it's just part of being old. The closer you get to 30, the less energy you have every day. But this was I had a lot of energy. I love this picture. So I used to compete.
This is also another clue: low energy. So she's saying to the people, this is let me see how many views this have. This was an interview she was doing for Miss America, and she's saying that she had no energy. And one of the things with chronic, yeah, getting older, sometimes you lose energy, but no energy where it's just you. Let's see here. This was September 23rd, 2020. This is it's just you. You don't have you have a demanding schedule, but you have time to rest to a certain degree. So this is one of the signs. Either you're not eating well, but you're fit, you exercise, you eat well. So then the question would be, why don't you have any energy? What's going on? Again, she's saying all these things very clearly, but all of the things that oftentimes we miss.
Every year in my high school pageant, each grade had an award, and then their first runners up who were standing in the back, and then there was Miss Formal High that was like the overall title. But I won Miss Formal High. I loved that crown, and I was really happy that I won because I just wasn't expecting to win. I wish when I was in high school I would have told myself to care less about sort of arbitrary things. I didn't focus as much on really finding out who I was and finding out what really made me happy. I think if I spent more time doing that, I would have felt a lot less lost or confused or insecure when I was younger. I hope you guys enjoy looking at all my old pictures. It was like a little walk down memory lane. Drop down in the comments, like, what are some things that you would have told your younger self? See ya.
I thought these were noise canceling headphones, but apparently they are not. So I found that interesting. Some of the ways in which we can work on not missing the signs in our own lives is listening actively. A peace to everybody who just joined us. Listening actively. Right now, people have their own reasons for listening, and we listen selectively. We listen to hear what we want to hear, as opposed to actively listening. Can I be heard? Hopefully I could. To actively listening to what's being said. And that takes a level of being present. Why is Miss America thing still up here? Right? That takes a level of being present that we oftentimes don't do. And therefore when we don't do it, we miss things. What's going on here? Hold on, peoples. Can I be heard? Okay, yeah. So my point being, it's a delay on this phone thing here. So yeah, it's one of the things she was talking. This was something, it was on YouTube, it was present. It was people who were in her life. Like I said, up until this point, I didn't know anything about the sister. But these were people who were present and in her life and could actively be saying, "You're always tired." If you talk to her on them on the phone, "Why are you always tired? What's going on with you? Is everything good? Are you taking your vitamins? I know you're exercising and you're working out. X, Y, and Z," right? But if we're too busy and we're just selectively listening, or we come from a place where somebody says you're tired and they say, "Oh, that just means you're lazy," right? So we have all of these cultural conclusions, all of these cultural norms, however dysfunctional they may be, that dismiss anything or anything that would indicate that it's a sign. So again, one of the signs that somebody is depressed is they're always tired. You can be lazy or you can be depressed. right? If you're exercising and you're eating and you're seemingly okay and you're always tired, that's not normal. But if you're telling to people, like I said, who don't care or have other things to do, they're just going to dismiss you as, oh, you're just lazy. If another sign of depression is that there's no motivation, not just that you're physically tired, but you don't have any motivation because there's no goal that you're trying to achieve in life. There's no place that you feel like you fit in. If we heard her story, we see that she was highly goal oriented. I wanted that award. I didn't want a ribbon. I wanted the highest recognition because she thought those things were going to make her happy. And as I pointed out yesterday, it's possibly because she grew up in a goal oriented household where it's accolade oriented. You got this, you get this, that means that you get X, Y, and Z. So you really have to look at how you grew up. Or even if you have a friend, we may be trying to put how we feel or how we grew up on our friend and thinking that, oh, you shouldn't feel anyway because if that was me, this is how oftentimes people lose people, is if that was me, I would be glad. Somebody may have grew up in a different way than you did. They may have grown up with more abuse in different areas. People could be abused or exploited, and it's in different ways. So when you try to communicate that to a friend or a loved one, then they diminish what you're experiencing because they always say, oh, if it was me, I would do blah, 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 blah. That person is not actively listening to what's going on with you. I'm going to drop the link in the box, by the way, and then I'm going to wind down. That person is not actively engaging in what's going on with you. They're just projecting what they would do and what they wouldn't do onto you and trying to convince you that because they feel that way, you should feel that way. And oftentimes if you're talking to somebody like that, it's going to lead to confrontation. It's either going to lead to you feeling as if you're not being heard, so you're going to disconnect. If you're that person, you're going to wonder why they don't come to you anymore, why they never told you X, Y, and Z, because they felt as though they were not being heard. There's also, I remember when I had my first daughter. Yeah, I had a lot of experiences. And, you have your first child. I was in New York. I was amongst some people who had no empathy for first time mothers. And so when it was me, you know what I mean? Oh, I was jumping around the next day after I gave birth. And I'm thinking like, huh? Oh, please, that's nothing. When we hear these type of insensitive comments, that's not acknowledging that everybody is an individual and different and have different experiences. What we do is isolate that person. And postpartum depression is a real thing. So some mothers go into, after they've carried the child for 9 months and or less or more, and then all of the hormones drop after they've given birth, and now they have to take care of a new soul. There's postpartum depression is real. There's some mothers who stop taking care of themselves and lose themselves in that moment. And if people are not trained, oh, you're not a good mother. Oh, you're lazy. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. And what happens? Something happens to that mother or that child. And, oh, I didn't know. I can't believe that this happened. That's because we didn't pay attention. A lot of stuff, the information is there. It's that we refuse to pay attention. We refuse to pay attention because it's an inconvenience to us at the time, or we don't necessarily have the answers. So we would rather the person stop talking so they can stop making us feel uncomfortable. If we want to be honest and truthful about why we miss a lot of these signs, is because people are impatient. We don't do unto others as we would have them do unto us. And sometimes we feel people are a bother. I don't want to hear what's going on with you. I got my own issues. How many people have come from a space where I don't have time for that? I got my own issues. And if you're in a family unit where they talk, now if you express an issue, you become the topic of conversation. Or If someone else expresses the issue and you're the congregants, you make them a topic of conversation. So instead of speaking to the person, you speak about the person or you speak at the person. Can you believe that? So there's really no room for growth. There's no room for healing. There has to be an environment, and oftentimes that is lost in translation. I dropped the link in the box. Anybody want to join me, feel free to do so. Concerning Kanye, I watched a documentary. It was a good one, by the way, um, a few weeks ago. And if I remember the name of the documentary, it was a documentary that, they put to The Genius of Kanye. I think that's the name of the documentary. Somebody named Daniel Eason put it together. I don't want Daniel to come for me, but he put together a good documentary that for me, as you're looking at someone who today people are saying, has mental health issues, diagnosed with bipolar, you look at what could have happened along the way. You know what I mean? What went wrong? Is it chemical? Is it something that happened in an environment? What is it? Is the person already predisposed? Like I said, when you're born, when you come into the earth, depending on what time, you're already predisposed to certain energies. He is what they call a Gemini. He already has two personalities. He already operates on these two varying frequencies on a normal day, right? So if the person is um under extreme pressure, or if one of your personalities gets, let's say the person has personalities in this case, and they say that they're the twin. If one of the way personalities or the way in which you act gets more attention, then the person is going to be more inclined towards behaving that way. You understand what I'm saying? And so if you look just a little bit at the time he's coming into the earth, he's already predisposed to vacillating between two very different types of energies. And at first I'm like, this is extra. I don't believe all this stuff. And then you see certain patterns with people in your lives and you're like, wait a minute. You know what I mean? The way you're moving, I'm catching some type of energy from you. You know what I mean? They're very airy. Whatever thought comes to their mind, whatever wind blows, that's where they're going, and here and there. And it can look very unstable. And this is what we see in him. It can bring forth genius, but it can also bring forth instability in the lives of people around you because they don't know what to expect of you. Today is one thing, tomorrow it's another thing. And how much worse is it to be the person inside the mind, unable to control their thoughts? Right? If you sit down and try to be still and you can't control your thoughts because it's just so many voices and everything is jumping all over the place, how much so the person observing you or trying to build with you or trying to work with you, and they can't because you keep moving the goalposts. There's nothing more frustrating for me personally than dealing with somebody who, or even in conversation, they can't focus. I know I'll be all over the place, but I still have some focus, right? But to move the goalpost continually, as soon as they make a point or they make a statement, and then you tap that point and you say, okay, let's unpack this, they run to another point, right? And so these are some of the things that may be indicators on the communication style, the way the person communicates or doesn't communicate, whether they shut down, whether they attack, whether they become aloof. All of these things help us in this conversation around mental health. How in growing up, what is the way that their parents uh allow them to be heard? Did they allow them to be heard? There's oftentimes people, if they have a parent who's a screamer, either they're going to learn to scream back or they're just going to learn to shut down, which closes their throat and doesn't allow for voice to come through. So sometimes when people have voice problems or different type of problems, they can start by looking at, what is my communication style? Where did I learn it from? These are all of the building blocks to, unless it's a familiar trait for DNA wise mental health issues, this is how people develop these type of anxious attachment styles and mental health issues, because it's coming from the way in which we were trained. Anybody have anything to say? Feel free to share at this time. What time is it? Ooh, it's getting dark. So that's the Kanye. I can go all the way into it, but he's doing the most right now. I think I said it in another time that he's missing certain elements. There's some guilt there. There is the trade-off that you thought that the thing that I wanted, and oftentimes that's what we do. We trade our now for our future, and we're like, it's going to be better when, and we don't live presently. And then when we get to where we're going, we realize that it wasn't worth it. Right. And so I spoke about in another space to learn to be present and be grateful every day for what you have right now. Queen T, Wagwan. Be grateful every day for what you have right now, even if to you it may not seem like much. But if we open our eyes in the morning, that's a present, right? That's a gift, because there's people who wake up with no sight. There's people who wake up with no hearing. There's people who wake up that have to learn to walk again, that has to learn to speak again. So all of these things that we take for granted, money can't buy these things. Money can't replace these things. Money can't replace family members and loved ones. So to a certain degree, the society pushes this unrealistic, unattainable perspective of who we're supposed to be. Always chasing the carrot, always chasing the carrot. This affects mental health, because you can't turn on the internet, you can't turn on the TV without someone telling you this is going to make you better, this is going to make you more desirable, this is going to make them love you, this is going to, and then when you go for that, you go for I saw a woman complaining that she was more happy in her 2-bedroom than in her $3.2 million mansion, because she has no happiness there. She bought a dining room table and she thought that her kids were going to eat around the table. Now the table's just decorated and nobody sits and eat. The children are not happy. She's not happy, because it's an illusion. Things have never truly brought happiness if you don't have, and it sounds cliche, but if we don't have people to share it with, or if we don't have contentment, it's never going to be enough. Look at the Brazilian butt lift movement. If I just get a little bit of more booty, they're gonna want me. And then they put more booty and more booty and more booty until you're on Ilana, like what's the lady name? Crying that now you can't sit down on your behind because you got issues and you got autoimmune issues. And if you can just go back and be grateful for what you had before. Part of this issue is that we lack gratitude. We lack the ability to be content. We lack the ability to be content, and it's always more and more and more and more and more, right? But they already told us more money, more problems. So it's not that we don't want to be comfortable at whatever that looks like for you, but even the young ones that's coming up, the pressure that is being put on them can lead to more mental health problems. Yeah, thank you, Queen T. If you have not subscribed, like the video, share the video. Yeah, like the video, share the video. You already know YouTube is a wild place. YouTube is a wild place. I see also, I think I spoke about that already. So let me see what's on the topic. And then the other girl, what's her name? Brittany. I think they had locked her down for like 10 years or so, however many years, based on she's not mentally sound to govern herself. What happened to the person? What happens when you go into these spaces, of these celebrity spaces? What happens to the mind? I think I talked about that many years ago, about what putting someone up on a pedestal, or what idolatry or idolizing someone does to the mind of the idolater and the idol. And given that people, although they think they are gods, cannot be gods, that whole demand that humanity has on the idol, it makes them mad. It makes them mad. It drives them off the deep end, because someone is always constantly wanting your attention, requesting of you, give me this, give me that. I think I saw where he was cursing out a paparazzi because at 5:30 in the morning, this is Kanye, they're at his door saying, hey, Kanye, bruh, at 5:30 in the morning, what are you doing? And then so that they can evoke a reaction and then say, see, look, the person is crazy. That's called gaslighting. Queen CTV say you're speaking to my spirit. This is true. Kane, it's true. It's called gaslighting, and it doesn't take for you to be a celebrity to be gaslit. People in your own home gaslight you, right? And you can be in a relationship with a husband or a wife, a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and they can gaslight you to try to evoke emotions out of you. We see Susie. Welcome to the conversation. I'm gonna bring you up to share your thoughts. Queen,
Greetings.
it's too much pressure and the things that they see and give up. Yep, that's correct. Oh, I can't hear. Let me unplug this.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, what's going on, sis?
Greetings, Mama Emuna. How are you?
Oh man, I'm busy whipping and running. How you doing?
Fine. I saw a documentary last time about Britney Spears about that she changed her personality and that she is under some kind of mind control or something.
Right.
That was yes. So a lot of things that we don't know about MK Ultra experiment, some kind of about Britney Spears that she is somehow under it. And yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what is going on. I just don't know.
It's
Even
a
the violence,
yeah.
yes.
The violence, like you said. Hold on, this light. Like you said, the violent. There's a lot going on. There's a lot, and I think that it's ramping it up between, lockdowns, between separation from families, between not being on good terms, childhood trauma. There's a lot going on that we have to be extra mindful in this day and time about where we are personally in our own mental health journey.
Yes, yes. Do you think it could be something with the C19?
I think it's a combination of things. I think it's a common, like a lot of the things I just named, the food, the estrogen, the chemicals, the technology, the
Mm,
the um the lack of interface with nature. There's a whole like compounded issue here that we're facing that's coming to a head. And like I said, these type of conversations is just necessary in my mind to bring it to the forefront that you're not alone, that you're not delusional, that the reality is you may very well be experiencing things that you may need to speak to somebody about, get some help so that you can help deal with whatever it is you may be going through.
because I have seen a rise in violence on people who took the C19. Not
I mean,
violence, but lack of patience. I see they have very lack of patience. They get very angry fast. When you question them, immediately they get aggressive. Um, so I don't know. I'm still asking myself, could this 5G thing can be true?
I mean, that people are getting, not all, but yes, there are many people who there is a increase in violence, and we have to also look that many people had a lot of time at home, and
Mm,
many people had a lot of time on video games, and a lot of video games are simulated violence, right? So when we look at increase in, and then this is how they train certain people in the army or the air on simulated games. So if you're simulating and you're getting pleasure and you're getting points for those who are sucked into this video game world for harming people, when you come into the real world, it's easier for you to do the very same things that you're doing in this very simulated world. Not to say that humans needed video games to teach them how to be violent, but it is definitely increasing uh, violence in many spaces. This is why I understand that the statistics for domestic abuse went up during this lockdown time because people had no escape. They're not able to get away from the partner or get away from the family members. Everybody's in the home, and the heat is increasing. You know what I mean? So, and if people don't know how to
yeah.
communicate, they don't know how to resolve issues, and they want to resort to violence.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yep, it's a lot. It's a
Okay.
lot. Thank you so much. It definitely is a lot. I just wanted to come on here real quick and just finish up, round off some of the thoughts that I had as it relates to LF said, talk to us about your newfound interest in NFTs. LF, LF is funny. Yo, you know what I found out in NFT land? They have sucked me in. So I'm going to tell y'all a story. I was invited to I'm switching gears. For those who don't know, sometimes I switch gears. So I was invited to speak last year about some business. And then I was talking about my daughter's paintings, and somebody's like, oh, you should look into NFTs. But it kind of went over my head because I was doing other things. And then it came back around. So I said, let me look into this NFT. Then I fell into the hole of NFTs. That's what happened. And so, you know me, I like poking around and I'm like, what is going on? But little did I know, whatever is going on, what they call now Web 2, which would be YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Web 3 is the full virtual world, right? Which NFTs and all other things live. But what I found is I didn't go over there as Imuna, right? Because I'm like, okay, I'm going to learn about NFTs and I'm just going to lay low. But I started talking and the people are like, well, you sound like you know something. And I'm like, what? You know what I mean? I didn't come over here to talk about solonomics and mental health. I came over here to find out about NFTs. And now I find myself speaking on these very same topics, which is weird. And I'm like, not really, because people are everywhere. So essentially, it has been interesting that the work continues on the other side, because in this space, there are people already at the line ready to fully integrate. I think to a certain degree, fully integrating into virtual world is a level of escapism from your reality, like video games and all the TV. It's an escape from dealing with reality. And the allure for artists is that for the first time, you'll be able to own your materials, like YouTube or Facebook. They can say, I own your information and I can use your information to monetize my stings, and I'll just give you a little something, right? So YouTube, Facebook, all these places are selling your data. But the NFT allure for many artists is that you get to wholly own your own creation. And for the first time, it gives the credence or the credit or the monetary gain to the person who actually created the piece. And I think that's why, for me, from what I've observed in NFT land, why a lot of artists gravitate toward it. That's why it was suggested that I looked into it. On the other side, what it is building, I would say, is community. So what I would say that I've found that in that space, because there are a lot of artists there who are already kind of open emotionally, there is more support for people moving through and exploring their emotions than there is in the broader population, which is just very interesting to me. Right? So people are building community based on expression of the self and emotions. Now, the things that we're seeing popularized, if you don't know what NFTs are, we'll just have to have a whole nother conversation. But to LF's point, the things that are popularized, like the apes and all of these things, I had a hard time figuring out what was backing it. Right. So we know back in the day, the gold standard backed the dollar. So I had a hard time figuring out what gave it its value. And to what I understand in this space and time, it's the holders, it's the people. The people are giving it its value. And if the people no longer engage, it doesn't have value. And it's kind of like YouTube. The people give YouTube its value. If the people don't come on YouTube, and they don't upload and no one watches it, YouTube is like MySpace. It no longer has value. So it's kind of the same concept. It's just giving the ownership over to the creator versus the platforms that host the creators. Hopefully that was helpful in my newfound understanding. Hey, Sweet Tea, what's going on? Long time no see. I've been going for a little bit. Also, they are playing our kids against each other in school. Who has, yeah, and who doesn't. Yeah, you know what? It came to my mind, Queen T. It was kind of back in the day when we was younger, and this is gonna date, some of us. But it's kind of like back in the day where they'd be like, "Oh, you got the cooties," right? Remember that? And it was this. The cooties was this made up, sickness, illness that somebody has, and if you had the cooties, then no one would be around you. So at first, the cooties was, the COVID, and now the cooties is if you are not vaccinated against the COVID, which is just crazy. It's crazy right now. They're playing cooties right now. Yeah, so Queen T says, my niece is an artist and she's doing that. I'm still learning. Yeah, there are many artists right now from all around the world, from Nigeria, South Africa, from the continent, from South America. There are many artists that this access to these cryptocurrencies is changing their life. What would be little and nothing here can literally change their life in Thailand and all of these different places that people are trying to log in onto. Queen T say, you remember the cooties, Queen T, who are trying to log into the NFT space. I think it is very volatile because I kind of studied the stock market. That's where I've been, y'all. I've been in my finance bag, y'all. Okay, so I was studying the stock market before I got into studying NFTs. So the volatility on NFTs are high, like in recent times. Bitcoin, not the NFTs, crypto. Bitcoin took a nosedive. Ethereum took a nosedive, and all of these new coins coming up took a nosedive. LF says it does have possible benefits for free market. That's what it's about, LF. That's what they're looking at for free market. But what I'm seeing is that last week, MasterCard announces that they're going to partner with Coinbase, so you no longer have to, so basically you can buy straight off of your card, which I find interesting that you're going for free market, but you're getting entangled back into the old paradigm. So the old paradigm, a lot of these big companies, Nike and these boys, they recognize, oh, it's chill, something is happening. And so a lot of them are just throwing money at developers to make NFTs, even though they don't totally understand it. So understand what I'm saying, even if it sounds like gibberish right now, it's coming, and it's coming quickly, that there's going to be a shift and an integration with these coins like Dogecoin, which Elon Musk was pushing, and all of these other coins. Some of them are trash and some of them are not, but there's a push to begin to integrate them and take them as something that, as we know, that you can pay with in real time. And then there are other countries that are trying to ban them. So I mean, it is a deep rabbit hole. People are buying fake virtual land in NFT land. They're paying real money. I'm like, what is going on? I just need some yummy cottage money. We trying to get in the stores. So basically what I'm doing is I was trying to find a way. I had my daughter, 14-year-old, help me to work together. We worked on the project. So essentially we're making the yummy burgers into NFTs, and I'm at the tail end of that. And the people who have these NFT cards will get real world benefits, but now they can also invest and have value in the yummy cottage in this space here. So I would never tell anybody that it's very mapped out as it is here. Like, oh, if you want to do a YouTube account, this is what you do. It's ever changing, but the big boys are coming. So hopefully that helped, LF. They're coming. Coinbase is going to make their own NFT market. Right now, the biggest NFT market is OpenSea. There's some questions about OpenSea, so you have a lot of other smaller ones coming. But let me just say, it's made millionaires over the last 2 years. Let me just say that. You understand what I'm saying? It's made millionaires. And at first I was like, is somebody washing money? You know what I mean? That's my first thought. I ain't even going front. I was like, I'm like, is somebody taking money to the dry cleaner? Because this looks real interesting. Rappers buying their PFP or profile pictures for $500,000. I'm like, what is going on here? So it took me a minute to kind of catch my bearings about what's really going on here, but there's definitely something going on. Queen T said, I need a real burger. So what I'm going to do is attach real world utility. So basically having a PFP or having the, which is, I'm only doing 99 of them, right? Because, I ain't want to stress out my child. So I'm only doing 99 of them. And with those 99, if you're in the continental US, then the real world utility, I would ship, like yummy burger case to the person. So that's that. And that's going to be launching soon. And so I've had to be over at Twitter, y'all. I've missed y'all greatly. Truthful perspective. What's going on? I've missed y'all greatly. You feel me? But I've been over at Twitter trying to see what's going on. I've met some cool people at Twitter. I ain't going to front. And I was hating on Twitter for years, y'all. I wouldn't go to no Twitter. Twitter wasn't my thing. But I met some cool people at Twitter who are trying to build and trying to do so. A lot of the developers are over there, the technical people, the computer people, a lot of the people are over there and they're looking to see how it is that you can keep the money in the hands of the people that are producing. So let me know what your thoughts, LF. If you want to come up and share your thoughts, what you think is going on with it. I wouldn't put all your eggs over there. You know what I mean? There's people quitting their whole job to go do NFTs. I don't know. No problem, Queen T. YummyCottage.com. Go ahead and check it out. And so to round this conversation up, for those who just joined us, we were talking about mental health and how important it is to just keep a handle on what's going on with us, check in on your strong friends, as they say. People are over here arguing about where the soul of the girl is going to go because according to the official report, she committed suicide. I'm talking about Miss USA. And they're over there in the unknown. You know what I'm saying? They're over there in the realm of the you're not the most high and totally miss all of the things that led to the fact that so many people, whether it be Gail King, who says that she was her mentor, her mother, her family, all these people missed out on what could have been helpful. And you over there trying to, I'm like, people are funny. Anyway. Any other comments, questions, feel free to drop it in the box. I'm going to go ahead and roll now because I got NFT burgers to finish. LF, I got... yeah, the people... I don't know, man. I don't know. Sometimes we miss the point. You know what I mean? Sometimes we miss the point. It's like on the what do you call it? The red carpet, where they had an episode where the young girl, who clearly is something going on with her, Willow, her mother was unaware that she was cutting herself. You know what I'm saying? The mother's unaware that she's cutting herself. And on national TV, before everyone, is the first time her mother learns that she was self-harming. I'm coming. Right? So you're in the house. Right. The creator has the answer. You're in the house with the young girl. You got all this other stuff going on, and you're over there in entanglements, and you're not aware that this young girl is harming herself. This is people being there, but they're not present. You know what I mean? Or the child or the person doesn't feel like you're a safe space. So I find it interesting that now they're on a red table telling the world that they're a safe space, but in your own home, there were people that didn't feel that you were a safe space. So it starts at home. With that said, yeah. The conversation was deep. If you missed yesterday, this is a continuation from yesterday's conversation. So if you kind of be like, what is she talking about? Just go ahead and put those two pieces together. For those who like, where's the rest of The Color Purple? Yeah, I didn't finish. Shout out to you. Much love. I think the link is in the bio of those things if you want to finish listening to the conversation on The Color Purple. When I get more stabilized in my mind and what I'm doing, then I can return to a little bit of more of a regular programming. But for right now, it's just special announcements. You know what I'm saying? This is my humbled offering. So with that said, thank everybody for tuning in. And we'll be back again. Are the burgers ready to buy? Yeah, I didn't put them up on the site yet, Queen T. I think I'm just gonna I'm gonna link them to I'm gonna link them for now. And then when they're ready to like buy on the market, then I'll bring them back in that way. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes. I'm working on getting them to where they can be in stores, which is a whole nother adventure in and unto itself. So pray for me. Because I'm just figuring it out as I go along. All right. And when y'all do see the yummy burgers in store, Yummy Kaj, you'll be like, yo, I know that girl. Ain't that a Mona from YouTube? You know what I mean? And all the day ones, y'all already know what it is. Much love to the new subscribers. Thank you for coming through. Like, subscribe, share, all that lovely, beautiful stuff. And we'll see you again next time. In a little bit, Queen T. In a little bit. After I finish up, I just got some Few things to finish up, and then I'll let you know when I put it up there, when they're ready to order. All right, everybody, bless.